It's Saturday, October 25th, 2025, and I've got a major update for you on our weather. We're going to start down here in the tropics with a life-threatening situation that's developing for Jamaica with Tropical Storm Melissa. Now, by the time this video goes up, it's probably Hurricane Melissa. This thing is about to undergo rapid intensification, okay? I want to get this out of the way before we dive in here. Melissa is not a routine storm. All guidance shows rapid intensification and extreme rainfall for Jamaica. This is going to be one of the worst storms we've seen down here in quite some time. So I'm going to go over all the details, the timing, the flood risks, and all that stuff. And I hope that if you have interest down here, you're following along. If I'm wrong, you lose a few minutes. If I'm right, you could keep your life. And once again, you can see this thing on satellite just absolutely blowing up right now. It's a tropical storm. We think that literally by midnight tonight, it could be a major hurricane. This thing is going to explode today. And unfortunately, it's going to happen right next to Jamaica. We're already starting to see some rain on the eastern side over here. Starting today, we're going to start having hurricane force conditions around Kingston, and it won't stop for several days. And then, of course, we expect this to continue to be at least a Category 3 as it goes over Guantanamo. And then the Bahamas, it'll still be a major hurricane more than likely. Category 2 maybe once it gets past the Bahamas. But our main focus right now has got to be Southwest Haiti and also the entire island of Jamaica. Now, a hurricane warning is in effect for all of Jamaica, and once again, you're going to start to feel those effects tonight. The biggest wind risk is definitely going to be in Jamaica over the next couple of days. But I do want to mention the Dominican Republic and especially Haiti. We're going to have a lot of rain, all right? Some of the heaviest rainfall totals from this storm will happen in Haiti, even though the core of the storm is going to miss Haiti, so the winds probably won't be as bad. And what's going to happen here is the storm's going to undergo something called rapid intensification, which just means that the storm's going to grow very fast, all right? The storm's kind of in the perfect conditions with very warm sea surface temperatures and less shear over time to where it's going to have the ability to grow. Hurricanes want to grow, all right? Usually there's something that keeps them from growing, and they're actually really fragile, so it doesn't take much. But there's not a lot of those things working against it here, so it's going to very quickly deepen into a low pressure system and a stronger hurricane right as it knocks on Jamaica's door. And just look at how slow this is moving, man. I'm already way out here on Monday, October 27th at 5 a.m. The Euro doesn't show landfall until potentially late Monday, maybe even early Tuesday. And then even after landfall, it just sits there over Kingston for like a whole day, which is just absolutely insane. So the wind and the storm surge right on the coasts, obviously that's going to be damaging. It's going to be life-threatening. But one of the main things is just because this is moving so slow, this is going to be a life or death situation for many people who live in flood-prone areas where we get landslides, debris flows, and just general stream and river flooding. We are talking about a whopping 600 millimeters or 20 to 25 inches of rain happening in just a couple of days. I don't care how much rain your area is used to getting. That much rain in a short period of time is going to cause catastrophic to extremely catastrophic flooding anywhere on Earth. So unfortunately, that's what we're going to be dealing with over here in Jamaica. But look at this. Over here near Guantanamo, we're talking about 400 millimeters. In Southwest Haiti, 600, 700 millimeters. Okay, and a lot of these places have terrain that is going to make it even worse. It's going to funnel a lot of that rain down into the valleys. We're going to have landslides, mudslides. We're going to have some just incredibly devastating flooding as a result of this. We are close enough now to where I can say that with confidence, and I don't feel like I'm just spouting fear-mongering words. Like, that is actually the reality that we're facing out here in these Caribbean islands. So once again, starting today all the way through Tuesday, we're going to be dealing with this in Jamaica, and then on Tuesday, things start ramping up a little bit in Southwest Haiti and eastern Cuba. And then beyond that, I think the worst of the storm in Haiti and Cuba is likely going to be on Tuesday into Wednesday. But once we get through Wednesday, we'll be done in Cuba and Haiti. And then we've got to start thinking about the Bahamas, Turks and Caicos, places like that. It's going to go right by the islands here as it skirts off to the north and east. So it's time to prepare up there. The good news is once it gets past Cuba, it's going to rocket. It's going to go really fast. So anything it hits beyond that, whether that's the Bahamas or Bermuda, it is going to not be as much of a flooding problem. But of course, we still have a tremendous storm surge problem, and just the general winds are going to cause their own problems. And also, I've got good news for Florida and the east coast of the United States. We can pretty confidently say now that this is not going to hit anywhere in the United States. This recurve, this sharp turn to the north and east is a shoe-in. It's definitely going to happen. But I think it's important to remember that doesn't mean that we're out of the woods as far as impacts goes. We know this on the coast of the Carolinas. We've had so many problems with coastal flooding flooding as a result of these big hurricanes out in the ocean. Here's another one. This one's going to produce big swells that travel hundreds of miles, and this is going to be a problem for us in eastern Florida, the coast of Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, maybe even up there into the Delmarva area, New Jersey, Long Island, and places like that. So we'll keep an eye on this for you as we go into the future. Some of these models also show this recurving back up towards Canada, which might be a big storm for Newfoundland and places like that. So that's another thing that we will track as we go into the future. But right now, all of our energy and all of our focus is on our friends down there in the Caribbean. All right, let's take another look at that aware model at ryanhallyall.com. Once again, we're in the action phase in Jamaica. You've got to rush your preparations to completion today. Everything that you've got to do to protect your life and property has to be done today, within hours of hearing this message. If you haven't already got started, you got maybe 12 hours or so in Cuba, okay? But Eastern Cuba, we are in action mode. And then up here in the Bahamas, Crooked Island, prepare, okay? Within 4 days, we're going to have that storm slide by the island, potentially a direct hit in Mayaguana, so we're getting close to the action level here in Mayaguana, but go ahead and prepare. Also, Turks and Caicos, prepare. Within 4.5 days, we're going to have the storm slide by at least within 100 miles of the island. Notice how we are no longer in an aware level, even in Florida over here, so you guys can, honestly, you can tune out now, but even over here towards Nassau and Marsh Harbor, you guys still need to be aware of the forecast. All up and down the East Coast, we need to be aware at least of the rip currents and the coastal flooding and stuff that's going to come along with this. And then, of course, Bermuda, it's time to be aware up here as well. Within 6 days, we're going to have the storm slide by pretty close. Factor Meals, healthy eating made simple. Here at the Weather House, we're constantly working on something and stopping to try to figure out what are we going to eat for lunch. It can completely derail the entire operation. And that's where today's sponsor, Factor, comes in. Factor's ready-to-eat meals have become a staple here in the Weather House. 2 minutes in the microwave and you've got yourself a chef-crafted, restaurant-quality meal that keeps us fueled without missing a beat. No drive-through runs, no junk, just real food. What I really appreciate is that Factor's fresh, never frozen meals are free from low-quality seed oils and refined sugars. They've also strengthened their GLP-1 support meals with high-protein, calorie-smart options. So whether you're working towards wellness goals or just trying to eat better, Factor takes the guesswork right out of it. Plus, they've added a ton of new Asian and Mediterranean dishes, and the food is plumb good. So try it out for yourself. Head on over to factor75.com or click the link below and use the code HALLYALLFB50 to get 50% off your first Factor box plus free breakfast for an entire year. That's HALLYALLFB50 at factor75.com to get 50% off plus free breakfast for 1 year. A big shout out to Factor for sponsoring today's video. Now let's get back into the forecast. All right, moving right along, we've got stuff going on here in the lower 48 today. We've got a slight risk of severe weather from Austin, Texas, and Killeen and Waco all the way over into Louisiana. This includes New Orleans, Baton Rouge, a little bit of southwestern Mississippi as well. Main threats today are going to be damaging wind and heavy rain. However, there is a decent little tornado threat out here, especially around Houston. Okay, so we're actually on standby mode today for a live stream just in case we get a supercell or 3 that starts to go rogue out here. We'll go live. Otherwise, I would highly recommend you guys follow YALLBot, the 24/7 YALLBot channel. We just launched the V3 interface. It's smarter, it's better, and it's 24/7. So if you need live coverage, YALLBot's got you covered. But once again, I'll go live if we need to, and it looks like that might actually be something that we need to do. So we had this morning line of storms go through Houston this morning. It's going through Louisiana right now. Don't think that you're out of the woods if you already had a big storm today, because we'll look at what's happening around noon. We're seeing new storms pop up back here around Austin. These are going to turn into somewhat discrete supercells that have a big hail risk. We actually have a hatched risk for hail back here around San Antonio and College Station, where we could see up to baseball size hail today. And then as they approach the Gulf, you can even start to see on the HRRR simulation here, some of these storms look like supercells that are rotating enough to produce tornadoes. So this is something to watch in Houston. Prime time for severe weather is going to be right around 6 p.m. through, I would say, 11 p.m. All right, so right in there, that's when we might go live. That's when we might have tornado warnings around Houston, and definitely some strong storms around Houston capable of producing damaging hail and winds. So get ready for that. Most of the severe weather action will be done after midnight. The storms will continue to march east into New Orleans. Those will hit potentially around 7 a.m. or so. But the farther east the storms go, the less concerning they look to me as far as the severe weather situation goes. There might be some resparking of some storms on tomorrow afternoon in Mississippi, but for the most part, the severe weather threat is going to be limited to today. All right, so what happens after the severe weather, after we're no longer really worried about Melissa anymore. The main thing that we're going to be watching is really today and tomorrow, another system in the Pacific Northwest causing continued problems over here with our atmospheric river. We've got some precipitable water values that are in the 99th percentile. So this is not like a traditional atmospheric river event over here either. This is actually an above average impactful event leading to 2 to 5 feet of snow way up there in the Cascades and some very heavy rain down in the valleys. That's going to be mostly done, at least this round, Monday. And then that storm system is going to traverse across the Rockies and actually do something really interesting over here as it goes across the Ohio Valley into the East Coast. The GFS is trying its best to show us another nor'easter over here. And this one might actually have a little bit of snow with it in the mountains of Pennsylvania and New York, maybe up there into New Hampshire and Maine, and down here in the Appalachian Mountains in West Virginia and Virginia as well. This one's a little bit of a colder nor'easter versus the last one that we had. You know, the GFS shows a strong storm coming over Cape Cod, bringing a ton of rain up into Maine as we go into the Halloween time frame. So this is a pretty spooky storm system up here on the East Coast. And another thing, if you don't like cold air, another spooky thing is there's going to be plenty of that coming down from Canada behind this thing. Halloween is going to be cold early in the morning. It's going to be in the 30s across the vast majority of the Ohio Valley up into the interior Northeast. Even down here around Atlanta, it might be right around 39 to 40 degrees early in the morning on Halloween. And then we're going to have cooler temperatures across most of the country really on the 31st, even down here into Florida, 46 degrees down here in the middle of Florida on Halloween morning. And that pattern is going to stick with us through the 6 to 10 day time period. We're going to be much below average for a significant period of time in Miami, even Jacksonville, Tampa, up to Atlanta, Columbia, even southeastern portions of Alabama. And then we're going to be above average over here in the West. Okay. And this is that roller coaster pattern that we're going to stay in through fall. And whenever we get the ridge on the eastern side and the cooler temperatures back on the western side, that'll spark up some more storms, likely bringing about another round of severe weather at some point. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So I'm going to be at the weather house all day today monitoring Melissa, and then also standing by just in case we need to go live for the severe weather in Texas and Louisiana. So subscribe, turn notifications on. Also, go follow Y'allbot, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.